really know quite where I'm headed.
At the ending of the fasting, she came to me. I heard the door opening at 2 o'clock in the morning. She said, I completed my fast this morning. I said, what did you see? I saw God. She said, I'm going to make you famous. I said, how? Because I'm going to talk about you. Does everyone know you cure AIDS and cancer?
There's just a lot of people in the world who are suffering. They're sick. They're not happy. They're looking for answers. They don't know where to turn. Well, I know a man who's been curing AIDS since 1987. This guy has taught me a lot, and I need to share my knowledge, you know, with the world.
We doing a collection of info on Dr. Sebi.
Yeah.
You know, we just left his space today to get some old products.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Again, like when I seen your doc on Haiti, it made me think, why people don't know about it gotta be somebody's agenda for us to not know about this story.
Yeah.
So when I found out about Sebi, and it's about his case that he beat in 1985.
Yeah, that AIDS case.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Why isn't that like the no disrespect, like Rosa Parks? We all know about Rosa Parks didn't get up from her seat. That's an honorable example of, you know, somebody from our history.
Yes, indeed.
Sebi going to court and proving that he cured AIDS.
Absolutely.
Come on, why we don't know about that?
Absolutely.
And you know,
and he just died mysteriously down there.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you know how they play.
Oh yeah.
You know, niggas was tweeting me, Hustle, be careful, man. Your plane gonna go down. I say, niggas better ride for me.
That's what I'm saying. Don't pray, ride for a nigga. I tell
that's
them,
it.
But that's heavy. I want to work with you on that one.
I would
man.
love to.
Yes,
I would
indeed.
love to.
Yeah, there's a lot of people we need to holler at who was, you know, down with Brother Sebi and who's on that herbal thing, who talk about how the pharmaceutical companies are real funny style about people with those natural cures. Them pharmaceutical companies, you'll end up with a brain aneurysm, or you done fell out a window about
all that.
Flew out of a window, heart attack.
Yeah. A lot of folks who are on that natural cure thing wind up slipping on something and falling down. A lot of them. So we got to chop up about that.
100%.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I would recommend us to buy distilled water to cook with.
Okay.
Not to drink.
Okay.
To cook with. Because distilled water has a pH of 7. It will rob you of your minerals. To drink the water, the glacier is good. Perrier is good. Anything that is done by Mother Nature. If the alkalinity is being obtained through a process of osmosis, it's no good. It will injure you because they have done it mechanically. You want nature to do it. This is why in the village in Honduras, Mr. G was saying to me tonight that his knee, he had to go and see a doctor for years with his knee that was paining him. So my daughter told Mr. G to go get in the thermal water, and Mr. G could not believe how could this water do all of this. When we believe that the milk of a cow, an animal, is sufficient to afford nutrition to a human body, then one has to question that, because I am not an animal. That's common sense, I think. Animals produces milk for animal babies. Human beings, women, females, produces milk for human babies. But something happened to us that we elect to do just the opposite. Instead of us giving our babies the milk of a female.
Is fish good?
Fish rots in the intestines.
Oh. That's where the worms go.
Oh. Exactly right. Anything that walk, crawls, swim, or fly, and that has a head should not enter my system.
They should have a face. Valentine's Day Saturday. And you can have a face, leave it alone.
led Ma'a and I to think about not only addressing to one part of the body, but to address the total body, because the body is all interconnected and interrelated. We can't treat one side without the other. So we say, just go for it. An intracellular cleansing. Self-explanatory. Cleaning every cell that makes up every organ and system that totals the biological you. Meaning cleaning all of you. Not only your colon, like many have decided to do, to concentrate on the colon. No.
So Dr. Sebi, what you're saying is that due to the way a lot of medical people study medicine in this country and around the world, they don't understand the difference between, say, electricity and something that's electric.
Well, if we are talking about understanding, what do they understand? Because the question needs to be asked. Remember, the time for common sense has arrived. What do they understand? Don't be afraid. We need to ask these questions. What do they understand? No cure for common cold, no cure for diabetes, no cure for cancer, leukemia, sickle cell anemia, AIDS, blindness, diabetes, and no other disease. Well, if the physician clearly...
Once upon a time, brothers and sisters and friends, listeners, we didn't have to know anything about anything in reference to making a decision to put something in our mouth. We did not have to read a book. Right? We didn't have a nutritionist. We didn't have any enzymes, protein, and vitamins. Why? Because all the things in our environment were alkali. We didn't have to make a decision whether this is good or bad, or try to make that distinction. Now you better know it. You better know, because right now we are engulfed and surrounded with the use of many, 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 many inorganic substances. Immersed in it. And we want to get out of it. But to get out of it is to know that it is bad. And the only way...
I'll be like, yeah, right. Man, it ain't been 24 hours. We gotta pick up the baton and run it across the world. Look at all these tweets.
Please watch over and protect Nick if he's gonna take over where Nipsey left off.
He offered cures for incurable diseases. He offered hope and life to those about to die.
What they will do with AIDS is the same thing they do with everything else. They will figure out a way for you to live with.
This is how the healthcare hustle works. We bring you in, you're sick, we start you on treatment protocols that are many times more toxic than what we're treating you for.
It just mind-numbing to see how we can allow people like this to come among us, poison us, and then live comfortable lives.
He's an immigrant from Honduras who never went to school, college, or medical school. Yet the man known as Dr. Sebi claims to have found the cure for several life-threatening diseases, including AIDS. Too good to be true? Well, you be...
Say, somebody cured AIDS. I'll be like, yeah, right. Man, it ain't been 24 hours. We gotta pick up the baton and run it across the world. Look at all these tweets.
Please watch over and protect Nick if he's gonna take over where Nipsey left off.
He offered cures for incurable diseases. He offered hope and life to those about to die.
What they will do with AIDS is the same thing they do with everything else. They will figure out a way for you to live with.
This is how the healthcare hustle works. We bring you in, you're sick, we start you on treatment protocols that are many times more toxic than what we're treating you for.
It just mind-numbing to see how we can allow people like this to come among us, poison us, and then live comfortable lives.
He's an immigrant from Honduras who never went to school, college, or medical school. Yet the man known as Dr. Sebi claims to have found the cure for several life-threatening diseases, including AIDS. Too good to be true? Well, you...
The
only substance on this planet that are electrical are the products that came with creation. Carrots didn't. Beets, rice, beans, wheatgrass, wheat. All these things are hybrid, plus much more. So what we are noticing is that there is gross misinformation when it relates to healing and nutrition. We are eating something that offends our biology. And in offending our biology, it offends our thinking pattern. We are looking outside of ourselves for the answer. Of course we are. We were trained to look outside of ourselves, but the answer was always. Hippocrates the Greek went to Africa because he was a philosopher. But he noticed something, that the African people were never getting sick. He went to Africa and he learned what the Africans were doing. Hippocrates the Greek went to Africa because he was a philosopher. But he noticed something, that the African people were never getting sick. He went to Africa and he learned what the Africans were doing. The African medicine is nutrition. He went back to Greece and thus established the school of medicine using herbs. Imhotep I didn't use herbs. This boy here, you know what he did? He opened the human body. If the human body needed to be opened, it would have a zip on it. So Imhotep I, because he was a mixed breed, his molecular... When you have mucus in the nasal passages, it is sinusitis. When you have mucus in the bronchial tubes, it's bronchitis. When you have mucus in the lungs, it's pneumonia. But now you have mucus where? For you to have Alzheimer's, where is the mucus? So we have to remove the mucus from out of the system, especially the brain, but then we have to feed the brain. That's where biochemistry comes into play. The brain. Like if the sister was suffering with rickets, that's bones, right? So we have to address calcium. If she had leukemia, it would be blood, that's iron. But now she has Alzheimer's. She has mucus on the brain, which prevents the brain from receiving what? Oxygen. Now, what is the brain composed of? Copper and carbon. That is what produces electricity. Copper and carbon.
He should prepare the sea moss for you. There is a way. Because I know what you're saying. When I first was introduced to sea moss, look, I put that stuff aside in the refrigerator. I want to hear about it. Because it smells bad, it tastes bad. But then I found a way. I found a way to add some hemp seed milk. Hemp seed milk. With some vanilla and a little bit of cinnamon. And girl, you're going to love it. She's going to love it. Already. I would recommend her to buy distilled water to cook with.
Okay.
Not to drink.
Okay.
To cook with. Because distilled water has a pH of 7. It will rob you of your minerals. To drink the water, the glacier is good. Perrier is good. Anything that is done by Mother Nature, if the alkalinity is being obtained through a process of osmosis, it's no good. It will injure you because they have done it mechanically. You want nature to do it. This is why in the village in Honduras, Mr. G was saying to me tonight that his knee, he had to go and see a doctor for years with his knee that was paining him. So my daughter told Mr. G to go get in the thermal water, and Mr. G could not believe how could this water do all of this.
Is fish good?
Fish rots in the intestines.
Oh. That's where the worms go.
Oh. Exactly right. Anything that walk, crawls, swim, or fly, and that has a head should not enter my system.
Well, they should have a face. face. That's a Valentine's Day Saturday. And if you have a face, leave it alone.
There is a group of people who do not want everyone to be here.
We have cures for a lot of things, but that's not what keeps America going.
So who's the real problem here? Is it Sebi, or is it some pharmaceutical company that is willing to exploit us?
This man has not objectively shown what he does. I would say he either deserves a Nobel Prize or a term in jail, and I vote for the latter.
So when I found out about Sebi, and it's about his case. You know, niggas was tweeting me, Hustle, be careful, man. Your plane gonna go down. I say, niggas better ride.
Anybody watching this, I want people to take Nipsey's lessons. So I don't want none of us to be afraid.
Anything that interferes with their omnipotent need to own and control everything is a danger and will be eliminated.
Were here before the Europeans. So what do you do with the heads in Mexico that you find at San Lorenzo, at Tres Zapotes? What do you do with those? All right? You ignore them. What do you do with Columbus's diary that says the Africans know a way to the west, but it goes around the doldrums, we would never survive? What do you do with that? You ignore it. What do you do with Balboa's diary that says we came upon this African village in the Isthmus? How did these Africans get here? What do you do with that? You ignore it. Why? To preserve the myth that the Europeans were here first. What do you do with all of this written literature and history that says that Abubakar II of Mali sent 200